Greetings, PlanesTalkers and PlanesTalkers fans. My name is Jake. I am a patron, and when I heard that Will and Aramis were looking for someone to come onto their show and discuss Legacy, I jumped at the chance. So here today, I'm going to begin my inaugural episode talking to the fans about Alurin, a very popular, if not overly powerful, Legacy deck. Alurin, a 4-mana enchantment first printed in Tempest, costs 2 green, and says any player may play creature spells with converted mana cost 3 or less without paying their mana cost, and as though they had flash. So if we can find some way to build a loop that gains us life or damages our opponent, and we can go infinite, we can win the game outright. The way we normally do that in Legacy is with a card called Cavern Harpy. It costs 1 blue, 1 black, saw its first printing in Planeshift, is a 2/1 flyer, and it says when Cavern Harpy comes into play, return a blue or black creature you control to its owner's hand. You can also pay 1 life to return Cavern Harpy to its owner's hand. So we've got a way to bring creatures back in and replay them with the Cavern Harpy and the Alurin. Now we need some way to drain life out of our opponent. This used to be most commonly done with Parasitic Strix. A 3-mana artifact bird costs 2 and a blue for a 2/2 flyer, and when it comes into play, if you control a black permanent, target player loses 2 life and you gain 2 life. Pairs really well with Cavern Harpy, which is a black permanent. You can play the Cavern Harpy, bounce the Parasitic Strix to your hand. Then you can play the Parasitic Strix, pay 1 life to return the Cavern Harpy to your hand, play the Cavern Harpy, bounce the Parasitic Strix to your hand, and now I'm talking in circles because we have established an infinite loop where we can drain our opponent for 2 life as many times as we want. The addition of Uro added a whole new level to the deck, where now we have another card that costs 3 that we can pair with the Cavern Harpy and basically draw our entire deck. So if we don't have the Parasitic Strix, we have some redundancy built in, and we can get this going without having the exact cards in our hand. The problem is, this kind of makes this a 3-card-ish combo, where we have Alurin, Cavern Harpy, and some kind of payoff card like Parasitic Strix. Now in Legacy, assembling a 2-card combo is plenty hard. Assembling a 3-card combo is way harder. So, one of the things the deck has picked up and people are starting to run is Acererak the Archlich. It's a 3-mana 5/5 from from the Forgotten Realms. It costs 2 and a black, and it says, when the Archlich enters the battlefield, if you haven't completed Tomb of Annihilation, you have to return Archlich to your hand and venture into the dungeon. Now, how does this help us win the game? Well, luckily there's 2 important things there. 1, it doesn't say we have to venture into Tomb of Annihilation, and 2, a different dungeon, the Lost Mine of Phandelver, has one of the rooms, each opponent loses 1 life, and you gain 1 life. So essentially, if we can get Alurin out, which is the whole point of the deck, that's what we're working towards, and then we can get our Archlich out, we now have a 2-card combo that we can drain our opponent out for infinite life. Now, part of the Lost Mine of Phandelver is at the end of it, you have to draw a card. And so you might think, if my opponent has more life than cards in my library, I can't kill them because I have to go through the entire dungeon. Because remember, since we can play the Archlich as many times as we want for free, thanks to Alurin, we can play it and venture and bounce it, and play it and venture and bounce it. But we have the ability to stack our triggers such that when it comes into play at the end of our Lost Mine of Phandelver dungeon, we can actually return it to our hand before we draw a card and replay it, essentially building a stack of infinite draw cards underneath a stack of infinite, each opponent loses 1 life and you gain 1 life. It's really cool to see older decks like Alurin, who has always kind of been a tier 1.5, tier 2, maybe tier 2.5 deck. Really fun, really good, but not quite good enough. See a card that can kind of boost it up a little higher and get it a little more punching power in this really powerful format of Legacy, where you can do a lot of really cool things like play an Archlich infinitely to win the game. That's all I've got for this week. My name is Jake. I'm your leader in Legacy, and I cannot wait a week.
And we're live. Hello, everybody. Aramis, are you muted?
Well, no.
No, there you
Talking
are.
very quietly.
Hey, go ahead and talk. I want to get a level check on you.
Getting a level check on me?
Yeah, I want to raise you up just a little. Now
Okay.
talk. There you
Sure.
go. Yeah, I think we're about even. And let's see, that's good. Not too loud for you?
No, seems fine.
All right, cool. All right. So we got a good show tonight. Welcome, everybody. We're running a little late. We had some technical difficulties. So, in the words of Killian from The Running Man, we have technical difficulties. All right. Oh, I should probably enable my recording things. Check. Okay. All right. You know what? Let's take a look at the level on the recorder here. I'm going to pull that back a little. Yeah, right around there should be all right. It should be pretty safe for the audio recording, I'm saying. Okay, so we got a good show. Anything we want to go over, or we ready? You got the red button? And
I think everything seems fine.
all right, cool. Well, let us know you're here. Say hi in the chat. We'll see you. We're going to need you guys' help later. During main 2, we're going to definitely talk a little bit about what we're supposed to call Archenemy and what type of rules we want to make. So I don't know that we should let Aramis make all the rules, seeing as he's the Archenemy. And I have a feeling you're just going to be the Archenemy for a while, dude. All right. You ready?
Sure.
All right. All right. Red button. 3, 2, 1. Click.
Play.
Greetings, salutations, and welcome to the PlanesTalkers podcast, a show by casuals for casuals. I'm your host, Will Benson, joined as always by my, hey, I finally won a Friday Night Showdown co-host, Aramis Perez. Aramis, sir, how are you tonight?
There's a first time and a last time for everything.
Right, and I think the last time I won was the last time I'm probably going to do that, so let's get into All right, untap, upkeep, and draw. And before we get started, we'd like to remind you that this episode and every episode of the PlanesTalkers podcast is sponsored by Kerwin's Game Store. Kerwin's Game Store is New York State's premier source for collectible card games, trading card games, or tabletop games, miniatures, comic books, retro video games, and toys. With their clean, open gaming areas available to everyone at no charge, Kerwin's provides a fun and inviting atmosphere for new and experienced gamers alike. With locations in both Catskill, New York, and also on the second floor of the Poughkeepsie Galleria in Poughkeepsie, New York, Kerwin's is the absolute best place in gaming. Now, they have a great website. We can't recommend it enough. It is KGS, that is Kite Go Samuel, online.com. It's wonderful, and if you use the promo code PlanesTalkers at checkout, you will get 5% off your online order. And we also want to take a second to recognize our rare level patrons: Steve, Spencer, Chiba Tank, Nurse Gamer VJ, Bell, Josh, Jonathan, George, David, Anthony, and Dragon D's Nuts. We want to shout out our mythic patrons, Jake and Jonathan, and we cannot forget our producer level patrons, Jamie and Johnny. We could not do this show without you guys. It has been such a privilege and an honor to have you guys come alongside us. As we mentioned last week, the Patreon call we did a few weeks ago is online. It's available for anyone to listen to if you want to go to listen to it. It's at the patreon.com/planestalkers. But really, one of the greatest things we get to do is all of our patrons, any level, you get first dibs at the first 2 seats in CommanderCraft. That's our Wednesday night online paper playcast we do, where we play Paper Commander. And so we already have Nurse Gamer VJ did take one of those slots. So we have 1 slot left for patrons, and then tomorrow morning at 8 a.m. I'll open it up on the Discord for the rest of y'all, and anyone can take the seat, and we always save the second game seat for, just anyone. So thank you so much for being patrons. To find out more about the patron program, go to patreon.com/planestalkers. So, and don't forget, we want to remind you as well, we still have our survey. We're getting, the results are trickling in. It's like 1 or 2 or 3 every couple of days. We really want your opinion. If you can go to survey.planestalkerspodcast.com and let us know what you think, that would really, really be helpful, and we greatly appreciate it. Eventually, when we get enough responses, we may go through some of that on the show when we don't have as much to talk about as we do tonight. But, we are in untap phase, and I'm going to untap my fourth golden monkey. So, Aramis, sir, how in the hell are you? Oh, there she is. It's Miss Perez. Hello, ma'am. How are you?
Wife saying hello.
Yes,
I'm
and
saying hello
sir,
back.
how are you?
I am good. It's Monday, so
It is
glad that the week
Monday.
is starting.
Oh, it feels like, yes, it just feels like we just did a show last week.
A couple days ago.
Oh, that was you saying I love you, babe. She always says hola, and then she like leaves. I get the feeling she's like, I don't want to listen to this fat guy with the beard talk anymore.
No, she's just chasing her 7-year-old around.
So do you have a good weekend?
Yep, had a good weekend. Did some things. We opened the boosters on Friday night, which was fun. Didn't really get a chance to play anything the other 2 days.
Right.
But was nice and quiet weekend.
I did a little playing over the week. You're not wrong. Wait, is he not wrong about chasing the 7-year-old, or that you don't want to listen to the hairy fat guy? Because one of those is fine. The other one, I'm gonna cry. I cry very easily. I'm a very, very big crier.
The answer is yes.
You're a mean man. Yeah, Friday was pretty good. Like, again, we said it. I mean, you guys can watch it. It's on our channels. Spoiler alert, listening to the hairy fat guy. Wow. Yeah, that happened. Well, damn. Where do we go from? You know what? It's your show, Aramis. Take it over.
No. Right.
It was pretty awesome Friday. Not a lot of value. If you guys go watch the video, spoiler alert, I don't think either one of us cracked $100. Oh, it means you like me. Oh, she likes me. She really likes me. Oh, I wish I had that sound. I do have this. So, but yeah, like, again, we said it Friday a lot. We're gonna say it again. Like the AFR, we cracked a set booster. For those of you that didn't watch, I think Aramis, what was yours? Like 85, and like mine was like 83.
89, I think I ended up with.
And I think I ended up with like 85 then, or 85, because I think we were within like $3.
You needed like 9 or 10 at the end.
Okay.
And you didn't get there. You opened a really bad. You opened a Simian Spirit Guide, which was your very last card, and it wasn't worth anything.
Yeah. So it really was. It was a good time and a good show, and I have a lot more fun just opening it and spilling beer and making an ass out of myself and getting yelled at by my daughter during a stream than I do, necessarily just winning. But and I've said it before and I'll say it again: a night of bad magic still beats a good day at work. So yeah. So did you do anything fun this weekend?
Not really. Just had some family up for a quick visit, and then really just kind of did some stuff around the house.
Oh, cool.
Usual errands and stuff. So it was quiet for a change, because it's been busy for the last few weekends.
Well, we did travel to Oswego. Remember last year, I think my buddy Jeff passed away from cancer. So they had the memorial this past weekend, and so my wife and I went up to Oswego, and it was really cool. Like, as far as like appropriate. Like, we were out at his, it was one nice day we've had in like a year. So, but it was nice and sunny, and it was really kind of great. His friend came up from Georgia. I think his friend from Georgia was actually an ex, because the way he talked, I mean, at the very least, he knew him really well. And, Jeff's family was very cool, and I think it touched him to see so many of us from Oswego, because there were like 7 of us from the department there. But it's a little jarring, dude. I don't mind saying this. I'm 47 years old. I still think I'm 27 in my head, I think, sometimes, because I'm like, oh shit, we die. Like, people my age, we don't make it. Oh dear. Like, it was like a mortality thing, I was like, not to bring the show down, but I was like, holy shit, like, this isn't supposed to happen to us. Aren't we just 20 still? But it was nice to be back in Oswego, and we did have a nice visit with some of our friends, and, those type of things, they do kind of bring you together. So that was cool. And we rode up with our friend Sheila. This weekend, I'll have plenty of stories Monday to tell, because my friend Tans, he has a party called Tans Bash every year, and it's this weekend. So cops will be called. People will be, some will not live to survive, and but it's going to be a whole lot of fun. So I'll have plenty of stories, I think, on that. Either that or I will remember absolutely nothing. Are we doing Friday night?
My plan right now is to go.
Okay, I'll check with the missus. I think I can go. It's going to be all up to her. Because I have absolutely no say in this whatsoever. So, but yeah, this week I'm looking forward to Wednesday. Like, I can't wait till we get to Main 2, and I guess we could talk about what we're going to do in the show. But Wednesday night's CommanderCraft is going to be good. But today, Main 1, what we're really going to do is talk about post AFR standard. Standard has definitely changed. Again, we're using the list at MTG Goldfish for those of you watching and want to look on. No combat yet. We might fall into one. Main 2, we're going to talk in the news section about Hasbro. A lot of content creators are talking about it. We're also going to put our 2 cents in about raising prices. Then we're going to talk a little bit about CommanderCraft. For the first time since we came up with this little rule, Aramis has won 2, so he is going to be the Archenemy, but we want to change the name to keep it out of copyright, and because it's not totally Archenemy, we don't have the cards we need necessarily for that. So, and then we'll kind of go through the Win-A-Box thing as well. We're going to talk a little bit about where we're at. We're going to push the Win-A-Box start off a few more days, basically till next Tuesday. Give some more people a chance to register, as well as get some deck lists in. So that's our show tonight. I guess we should get to Main, right, Aramis?
Sounds good to me.
All right.
Main phase.
All right, main phase. So I wanted to talk a little bit about AFR post standard, because if you go to MTG Goldfish, I went there this morning to kind of take a look around as we were getting the show notes ready. And yeah, looking at it, there have been some changes. The number 1 deck is no longer Sultai Control, according to MTG Goldfish. And it by a nice 7 or 8% point margin. And it's it's not a brand new deck, but it's definitely a deck that got pieces it needed. They're calling it Naya mid-range. I call it when Noda pisses you off. So, according to MTG Goldfish, though, that's the best, running the best deck. Top 5's filled out by 2 of the old school, Sultai Control and Dimir Rogues. No surprises there. But then Mono White Aggro's back from the dead, and Black Red Sacrifice back from the dead. So I kind of wanted to go through that because that's some changes. So, Aramis, what do you think? Like, did you get a chance to look at any of these decks, or?
I briefly got a chance to look at them. To me, it kind of, even though Naya is a mid-range deck, it kind of tells me that this is a typical life cycle of standard right now. Aggro is up there, and control has to catch up. So I'm not super surprised. The Winota deck had made a reappearance last week, and it was starting to climb the ranks. I'm a little surprised that it got to first with the margin that it did. But again, MTG Goldfish data sometimes is a little bit weird, so I'm going to take it with a grain of salt.
Well, they took this off of the 5K SCG Tour Online Championship qualifier. So
yeah, I mean, I'm not going to discount their data. I'm just it's not perfect, I don't think, and it's hard to do that when you're running aggregates from other sites.
Right.
You're bound to miss something. But it looks like Naya is right now is the king of the hill. The question is going to be, does Sultai Control make the adjustment to reclaim the top spot? Or is this going to be something that's going to be going forward until Innistrad, where the mid-range decks are back in the driver's seat?
Well, I played with it a little bit today. While I was waiting and stuff, I got a few games in, and I'll tell you something. It is consistent. Some of the pieces it got from AFR really do. The fact that Prosperous Innkeeper is not a human, that helps him a ton. It's basically, and the Jaspera Sentinel, I think, is a really good card. I think we're going to see more of that since they don't have Llanowar Elves anymore. The problem with that card I've always had is that it taps an untapped creature, but that means it can tap something you just brought in, and it's a source of mana, which I tended to use for a lot. It looks to me like when I was playing it, first of all, the pathways help, I think. they're stable. It's pretty stable with a 3-color deck if you have all of the pathways, and then Lair of the Hydra. Lair of the Hydra is like almost another damn creature, But when I was playing it, it's pretty stable. I ended up playing a lot of black, a lot of Golgari, and a lot of just mono black, and I was doing really well. Like their matchmaking is not up to date on this yet.
Yeah, what's your rank right now?
Oh, I went all the way to bronze. I just started playing today, so I'm up to silver 1.
Yeah, so it's all over the place right now.
Yeah.
It's hard if you're just quickly playing it online to get
Right.
really a feel for it, because you're not going to be playing
Tuned decks.
Well, it's not even that. It's just the way their matchmaking works. It's easy to get until once you get to platinum. The matchmaking seems to change from
Yeah.
platinum to diamond, and then once you're in diamond to mythic, it
You're constantly
changes
fighting
again.
uphill.
because somebody actually posted on Reddit, they were able to get to mythic by simply playing their cards from left to right. So they played 500 and some odd games, but they were playing, I think it was mono red best of 1 cavalcade.
Oh, it has to be
And
best of 1, yeah.
They got to mythic, because what ends up happening is that once you get to a certain point, you start losing a bunch. Once you start losing a certain number of times, you end up playing against people who are just bad.
Right.
And
Their deck is like exactly what you want to see.
It's susceptible to being played against someone who's actually playing randomly.
Right.
And yeah, they got to mythic simply by playing their, they would play their lands on time, but other than that, they would play whatever cards in the left card in their hand, to the next one from the left, to the next one from the left, and just
Wow.
that's how they would play the game.
Yeah.
And they got to mythic, so it kind of, to me, cheapens the whole experience of getting to mythic.
It does.
Because in my opinion, it's supposed to be, if it's a ranking system, it's supposed to be, hey, the best players rise to the top.
Right.
Well, I mean, you could just hit a spade of bad luck, apparently, and play randomly and do well or not. And this person,
go ahead.
They played randomly and they succeeded.
But Aramis, that's variance, man. That's magic, according to those people on Reddit and Facebook groups that like to tell people they suck.
Well, there's variance, and
yes.
There's just proving a point. I think this person proved a point.
Well, I will say that when I was playing this today, it did what it wanted to do. Like I found that the deck was able, I was able to kind of, it wasn't just what I was playing, it was the deck was doing what I think it's designed to do. Just Bearer Sentinel or Selfless Saver turn 1, Lotus Cobra 2 or Innkeeper, and then it looks very kind of well put together. Minsk is a really decent card. I was surprised at how much I like Minsk. From the pumping standpoint, and the sideboard for it, because I was playing best of 3. I ended up playing a lot of mono black, mono green, or black green, and like against mono green, Burning Hands is stupid. It's like, oh, I can do 6 damage to you. Okay, but I like the deck. I'm not surprised to see it number 1. Yeah, it's gonna get beaten. It's like you said, and I totally agree with you when you say it. Early in standard, new set, aggro, everybody plays aggro. And then, it climatizes and stuff. I mean, I didn't see, though, in the Sultai Control, is there anything from this set that's kind of doing anything? I mean, they had everything they needed, right?
I have to take a look at the deck list again.
I'm looking now, and I don't see anything. Yeah, this whole deck. Yeah.
But again, too, keep in mind that the deck list that they show is from July 17th. So again, the data's not perfect.
Yeah.
There was a qualifier on August 1st that somebody went 7-1 with. See if they're playing anything. Power Word Kill made it in, which makes sense.
Yeah.
None of the lands. Maybe something in the sideboard. Imrith Desert Doom made it in the sideboard. So it's just a couple of cards. I mean, the deck is basically done at this point.
It's got what it needs.
There might be some fine-tuning that needs to be done to make it, again, just adjust to what's appeared in the metagame. I still think Sultai Control is the best deck. The Sultai Ultimatum. I think that's still the best deck in Standard. I think that I think that Naya mid-range will stay in the top echelon somewhere, but I think Sultai will reassert itself just
Yeah.
in a matter of weeks.
Well, let's talk about the other aggro deck then, and it's not red. White aggro is another one that kind of got a little bump recently. I think the Book of Exalted Deeds is the only thing that they added, because it was a pretty okay deck to begin with. But Book of Exalted Deeds does it fits that archetype really, really good.
Kind of, yeah. The Book of Exalted Deeds is kind of a backup plan. You're not trying to win with it.
Right.
It's basically there. If you get to a point where your aggro is slowed down, you've got a Faceless Haven in play, and you're like, well, I guess it's time to lock things down. And if they're not playing non-basic land removal, you can't lose the game. You just sit back and wait.
Yep.
So their primary objective, I believe, is still to aggro you out. And
right.
Failing that, then they switch to the book and try to win that way. And they have some angels in the sideboard to help with that, so they go heavier on the angel side if the aggro plan doesn't work and they want to go more controlling. It's nice to see Baneslayer Angel seeing a little bit of play, even if it's just in the sideboard, because that used to be, I wasn't playing during that point, but I know they were saying back in the day when Baneslayer Angel was first printed that it was, ridiculous, and now it's like, it's okay.
It's Shivan Dragon.
Not as bad as Shivan Dragon. Shivan Dragon's way worse, but because this has protection from Shivan Dragon.
Well, the other one that really kind of surprised me was a Rakdos Sacrifice type of deck. This one, I mean, I'm just kind of like, it looks to me like the two that I looked at from recent stuff, it's all land. It's all like, what the main change was the Den of Bugbear and Hive of the Eye Tyrant. Like, they were like, we're doing good otherwise. We don't really need a lot of creatures. We don't need a lot of spells. These lands are what's providing it, because even if we start sacrificing our stuff, we have a creature, For that, I'm kind of like, why are you not using, the one there?
Well, I think it's this deck wants to win with like an Immersturm Predator. So
yeah.
it's controlling the board early. Valky's there to kind of do Valky things early or Tibalt things late. Trox is there to disrupt your hand. Mire Triton gets some stuff in the graveyard for you. Power the Immersturm Predator, which is, I mean, it's almost like when Esper Control was playing Dreamcrawler. That's what Immersturm Predator's filling the role of just a big flyer that's really hard to kill.
Exactly. So it's definitely, but I think like the Den of the Bugbear, like the reason I think we're seeing more of it, the only thing I can see that's changed is those two cards. And being able to make a 3/3 black beholder creature with menace, and when it attacks, exile target card from a defending player's graveyard. Well, if you're playing Claim the Firstborn, that means you get rid of something on their side. And then, and then the Bugbear, whenever this creature attacks, create a 1/1 red goblin creature token that's tapped and attacking. That's like...
You get extra creatures to sacrifice to Woe Strider
exactly.
or Immersturm Predator.
So it's an engine.
Or even activate the village rights to draw some extra cards.
So, I mean, yeah, it's got an engine to it. And with those lands, I think... I don't know. I hate sacrifice decks. I always have. Mainly because I'm an aggro player, and fuck, I don't want to play you. But, I don't know. It looks kind of cool. I mean,
Yeah, it seems like an interesting build. I mean, it's only got, what's the percent of the meta right now? It's got a 3% claim of the meta, so it's really it's tier 2.
Yeah,
clearly tier 2.
But it's beating mono red.
Yeah, well, they're. I mean, it's 0.1%. 25 decks to 27 decks, so they're essentially tied. The top decks in the format right now are Naya, Sultai, and Dimir. Yeah. So, I don't think that's changing anytime soon. I don't think any of these other decks that have appeared, the Jeskai Tempo that's made of, that's come back a little bit, mono red aggro, the Sacrifice deck, mono white aggro.
Green midrange was there for like 7 minutes, and then everybody was
I'm not sure they're going to have the staying power. I think it's these three decks. I think that's what we're going to see until rotation. I mean, this is the last change to the standard before Eldraine leaves. And
I'm so ready
leaves.
For that.
So we have to see what happens. But I think this is pretty much going to be locked in for the next several weeks.
Well, what card would you say then? I mean, what do you think's having the biggest impact on standard from AFR? If you had to pick one, would you just say like the land? You can even pick an archetype of like the lands or whatever, but
It might. I mean, it's hard to say. I mean, the Winota deck kind of came out of nowhere because it seemed like it was missing these couple of pieces, and
Right.
it got those cards that it needed, and it's really popped onto the scene heavily. I don't know that any one card really did it. I feel like there were a couple of decks that were, and that's kind of what they do with the last set before rotation. They're sort of like when they do their future leagues. They're like, what strategies have we introduced need a push?
right.
And apparently, Winota needed a push. Mono White needed a push.
Well, yeah, they did it with
Sacrifice needed a push.
Vampire. What, 2 years ago or 3 years ago?
With the vampire decks, yeah, and then like with the land craziness with Field of the Dead.
Yeah.
They felt like that kind of a deck needed a push, and it was a little bit too much. But this one, it's not on the same power level as those other core sets from the last couple of years. It's really been supplemental in that effect. It's not really taking anything over. There's nothing really new. Like the venture mechanic's not going to do anything in standard. The dice rolling mechanic is not going to do anything competitively. I think really anywhere for the most part. There might be a couple cards here and there that are good.
Yeah,
but it's not going to be like this overwhelming presence. None of the planeswalkers are particularly exciting.
No.
So
Morgan Kanan. I mean, he's really excited. They should ban that shit.
So it's gonna be I think unfortunately more of the same for the next couple of months until Innistrad rotates in. I mean, the Naya mid range is a nice breath of fresh air. I might put one together to see how it plays, but I don't see this being a particularly exciting standard for the next few weeks. Unfortunately, I think we're pretty much done with what is going to be coming down the pike. I don't see anything new really developing because this gets released early on Arena and it gets released kind of early online, so people have a chance to do all kinds of testing. So I think this format's pretty close to solved, and I mean, this has been a nice ripple with Naya mid-range. I hope it sticks around. I don't think it's going to stay the number one deck. I think it slips to 2, 3, or 4.
Yeah.
But it's Sultai's world. We're just living in it right
now. You're not wrong. I still say I wouldn't mind seeing well, I guess now. Don't do it now. It's 6 weeks.
No point.
We're 6
There's
weeks.
no point to do it now. Yeah. The new set's coming out soon.
Yeah.
In a few weeks. I mean, I'm sure the previews are going to be starting any minute now.
Well, you know what'll happen? Like the day after they were launched, Jumpstart Historic, Anthology, My Mama, Horizons, whatever they're calling
2 weeks
it.
from that is when they have the big video highlighting what's going to be happening next year as far as sets. And I think the Innistrad previews start shortly after that, if I'm not mistaken. I could be wrong.
I would think they're going to do it during that because it's a lot of freaking video production. I mean, how much do they want to pay Jimmy?
I don't think that's what this video is.
Oh, good. And I'm ready for Jimmy. Like, let's put Jimmy away. There are many other. Let the professor want. They'll never let the professor.
They didn't really do anything for this set, did they?
Yeah, I think they had a video. I think it just wasn't really. Again, they kind of low-keyed this whole set. I mean, it's all right. So let's kind of talk about that before we go to combat. I mean, final thoughts on the set. They kind of low-keyed the whole damn thing. I mean, there's no real. We were talking about it Friday during the thing. Like, we're not doing collector boosters because there's no real reason for us to do it. Like, there's no lottery ticket. There's no chance to pull a super rare dual land. Although, the fact that they're introducing the duels into Arena, I'm like, okay, all right.
I mean, there's the one card that can conjure a tropical island. I don't see one for the other dual lands.
It's like, but if you're programming it in Arena, just release them.
Yeah, I mean, they released the vintage cards online with Vintage Masters.
Yeah.
And Magic Online, so you can get a Black Lotus on Magic Online and Moxen and things like that, and they're obviously infinitely cheaper than getting the real versions. I would like to see something like that on Magic Arena. Whatever they do, if it's something like that, it's going to be years off if Arena even survives that long. It would be nice if they filled the back catalog rather than coming up with, we talked about that last week, rather than coming up with unique cards that are exclusive to Arena. Program in the older sets, Finish
Yeah.
Pioneer. Start working on Modern.
Well, I
Start
don't think they're
working
going to
on-
do Pioneer at all. And that's just it. I was thinking about that after we talked. I think they are in a way. Okay, think about it. In Kaldheim, we got the guy who did infect counters. Well, infect counters give you, once you program in how infect counters work, you now can program in infect cards. All infect cards.
Poison counters, you mean.
Yeah, poison counters. So the infect mechanic is there. You know, they're programming
really,
in
no.
a real duel. Okay.
Infect's not there because infect works differently than poison.
Okay.
Because infect, remember, if a creature with infect deals damage to a creature, it's -1/-1 counters.
Okay, but that they've already got that with Soulscar Mage. Soulscar Mage was like half infect. Like
that was non-combat damage. But yeah, the basic premise is there.
right, the coding is there, is what I'm saying. So there's almost no reason for them not to keep going. I'm suspecting, okay, the fact that they're doing this Jumpstart Horizons thing. I'm not going to be surprised if, you know, from a coding perspective, they're like, okay, we program these in. And they were probably working on it the whole time. But again, it's the mechanics that were in the sets that they couldn't, you know, once they cracked that code, they could just dump cards. So
well, this is a great way to live test a lot
Right.
of those mechanics, because I think there's a card in there that has Cascade. I think there's a card in there that has Retrace. I think they're putting a lot of these types of cards in there, like Madness and things like that. So they're definitely testing the waters.
Proof
for the
of
older
concept.
sets.
yeah,
I just feel like it just sucks that we're in perpetual beta.
right.
You know, this is stuff that can be tested behind the scenes, and then you can release and patch at that point.
Right.
But I don't know what, if any, testing they've done with these before they're being released to the general public. And
Right.
we're kind of guinea pigging all of these new mechanics and how they're going to interact with the engine and the rules and everything else. And is the game going to be able to handle it all? I imagine that for the most part it will, but Arena has a history of being really dumb initially after an update.
Yeah, totally. And it's definitely, you know, I've been thinking about 2-hour combat last week, and yeah, I'm going to change my answer. I don't necessarily like these unique cards because we're getting ready to do our standard, you know, no ban list tournament, okay? And I've had to put in the deck list, if you go to the deck list channels, like part of what I put in there is, you know, it's this, there's no ban list, no AFR, and it needs to be in standard, because I remembered when we were doing this our last set, somebody was dropping in Hallowed Priest, which is legal in Arena Standard because it's one of those like special cards they give out.
An Arena exclusive.
Right, but it's not standard legal.
Yeah,
and
so somebody could play, realistically, someone could play Shock.
Yeah. And so I've put that in there that these need to be
Legal in paper standard.
Yeah. Well, actually, you could still play Shock because Shock was in 21. They haven't put Shock out yet for 22, though. But you can play it in 22 because it's a Arena Standard. But it'll be in. It's going to be in Innistrad. I mean, you can't not have a 1-drop direct damage card. I just, oh god, bring the Bolt back, Bolt and Bird, man. But thinking about it, unique cards. Okay, it's historic. All right. I get that. I do. But how soon until you start doing unique cards for Arena for Standard? Like I said, I don't like the Standard only, the Arena only cards now. How soon until they start? It's turning us into Hearthstone. I don't want to play Hearthstone. I've played Hearthstone. I was like, this is like Diet Magic. This is like Magic for people that can't lose and want to cry a lot. Sorry to Hearthstone players. But I don't know. What do you think? I mean,
well, I basically have already said how I stand on it. They need to. I think they need to focus less on unique cards and exclusive cards to Arena, and more on filling the back catalog, because I think people want that more.
They do.
They want Innistrad. They want, you know, the Gatewatch. They want the Eldrazi, things like that. You know, they want to go backwards and fill these sets in. And I understand it takes a lot of resources to keep programming in new sets. And okay, that's fine. And if you're not going to hire new programmers, then stop giving us cards that are only available on Arena.
Yeah.
It just stop doing that. I mean, I think most people don't want that. I could be wrong, but I don't see a ton of people super excited for the mechanically unique cards because of the confusion that it might cause.
Right.
Someone's going to be on Arena playing Standard, getting a bunch of stuff, getting a bunch of wins, and they have their Hallowed Priests and their Inspiring Commanders, and they go to try to find those cards to play in paper, and they don't exist.
Right. Well,
Or
they don't
they're
exist
playing
in
with a card
Standard.
like-
You're sitting on a
Yeah.
Friday Night Magic with a Hallowed Priest,
Yeah,
and
well,
somebody's
like they're playing Goring Ceratops,
Yeah.
which is legal, and that was printed in Ixalan.
Yeah.
And they have that, that exists in paper. So then they're like, all right, well, I'm going to bring my white dinosaur deck to Friday Night Magic. It's Standard, and nope, that card's not legal. Well, why not? It's in Arena. Yeah, that's an exclusive to Arena, so it's legal there, but it's not paper legal.
Yeah. Or
So
that
it's
card
just-
from the list you got that one time.
Yeah, so it's just it adds a potential element of confusion that I think is unnecessary for people. That if this is supposed to introduce people to the game and get them playing in paper, you need to stop putting in cards that don't or can't exist in paper.
Right. And I'm not liking the arena only mechanics that they're coming up with. I still
And I'm not trying to be like one of those get off my lawn back in my day old farts, that says change can't happen because this is the way it always has been and the way it always should be. I'm
Yeah.
not afraid of change. I feel like this is not necessarily the change that we need in this set. I mean,
I'm with you.
There's it's fine to have the beginner cards, but keep them in the tutorial.
Right. And I think too, it's like, well, I think a lot of people are thinking that because they're kind of done with Pioneer. I mean, they're not saying it. Nobody's come out and said, hey, due to the pandemic, Pioneer, it's dead. But you canceled the Pioneer set for Arena. You stopped making these. As far as I know, we've heard nothing about the next set of Masters. They had Kaladesh Masters, or remasters.
There was supposed to be a Pioneer Masters, and they put that on indefinite
So, and
hiatus.
the next one would be Kaladesh. Before Kaladesh was Innistrad.
Yeah.
Echo, which are there, Midnight Dawn and whatever, or not Midnight Dawn, but
Dark Ascension and
no, it was
Eldritch Moon.
Return to Innistrad and Eldritch Moon. Those were I do believe the two. But
I'm sure it was Dark Ascension. I'll find it.
Dark Ascension was before those. But in any event, again, they're already programmed in. Why the hell aren't you doing that? Especially with Innistrad.
Shadows over Innistrad.
Shadows over Innistrad, that's right.
And Eldritch Moon. That's what it was.
Yeah, and it annoys me. Like, they could do this. And you're right. So Pioneer might be dead. Okay, so Pioneer's dead. You're not going to put it in Arena. And you like Historic because Historic gives you kind of the flexibility to Hearthstone things, which is this card doesn't work. We're going to change the wording in Arena. And again, my suggestion is don't change Agent of Treachery. Change it to Treacherous Agent if you're going to do that. So that it does what you want it to do, but if I play Treacherous Agent, I'm not going looking for that at the store. And change the border of it somehow.
Yeah, but then that means you can play 8 copies of it.
Well, no. They could still keep it banned in Historic. Like,
That's true.
they're already banned in Historic. Hey, JVA, we're going to talk about you turn 2, man, but that was a really cool countdown. Thank you. Since they're already banned in Historic, you can make Omnath locus of all creation. And, Uro, Titanic Wrath. And change the borders, change things like that so that people know that this is kind of, if you want to do that, I'm fine. Maybe. But again, I'm kind of annoyed at the Historic only cards. I love that they're putting the Modern Masters sets in here. They should. Modern Horizons 3, put it in the day it comes out. You'll sell more. If Arena's going to be your premier digital platform, which again only helps Wizards because you know what? Arena's going to be wonderful until one day when Hasbro goes, we got kind of enough. Let's shut the servers off. You know what you get when they do that? Nothing. And it's going to happen with MTGO too. But you feel more like you own it because, you kind of own a digital copy of the card in a way. So, I don't know. It's one of those things that I keep thinking about, and I'm like, Arena's kind of annoying me a little. And maybe I am just too old for my own good. But what do you think? Anything else we want to talk about before we go to combat?
No, I think we've basically both covered our dissatisfaction with the way things are going.
Yep, I agree.
Combat phase.
And we don't have combat.
Main phase.
All right, main 2. So, man, this show's just cooking, and I'm saying that so something happens. So, main 2, we're going to start with a little bit of news. Okay. As you may have heard, Hasbro last week or the week before put out their investor call. And on it, the CEO or CFO or CIO or MNLOP, whatever the hell his initials are, he came out and basically said that due to freight costs from the pandemic, that they're going to be raising prices of D&D and Magic across the board. So that has some people in a little bit of an uproar, and I think I'm one of them, because on one hand, during that call, they were pretty much like, we're making money hand over fist. It's, we're printing money. And, everybody knows that Wizards has had a great year, and they were spun off into their own, like, super division and yada, yada, yada. And then on the other side of that, you've got the CFO coming in and saying, well, we have to raise rates because of shipping and freight. Man, that sucks.
Yeah, I mean, it's coming off the fact that we know that D&D had its biggest year ever, Magic had its biggest year ever.
We were stuck home
through the roof. Yep, this was the perfect time for these two. Like yes, you couldn't play in person, but Commander took off.
Yeah,
I mean, if they really should be writing a check to Spell Table.
Really? Well, they did.
Yeah, they bought them.
But yeah,
they should be giving more. But it's after posting, very good profits, to say that they're raising prices,
right?
It smacks of me of just corporate greed a little bit. At the same time, it has been a while since they raised their prices, but also, like you had off the air.
What's
you
that?
Mentioned off the air that there's no MSRP.
Right.
So
you can't sit there and say that, like.
Yeah, it's hard to reconcile all the moving parts in that. I'm not happy about the prices going up because this is not a cheap hobby. But I guess I'm just not surprised anymore.
No. I'm a little frustrated. I'm a little surprised. I get it. I understand how corporate America works. And I'm a capitalist. I'm an American. Yay, capitalism. Whatever. Rah-rah Siskumba, sure, absolutely. On the other side of that, it's like the worry I get off of it is that it's like you're sitting there and saying, okay, we're going to raise the rates, which means that the quote-unquote unofficial MSRP is going to go up. But you're already forcing us to buy set boosters. You're already making collector everything. You charged $100 for a double master, single pack of cards. You're already pretty much, hitting us where it hurts. The D&D books by themselves are like $50 printed, like $30 online. Like, and that's just it. If you're telling me that my D&D Beyond prices aren't going to go up, that's it. That's insane. You're going to raise those. They're going to raise those, obviously. And there's no freight there. You can't blame freight. We have gone through this before where they've raised, and that's what it is. It's like, well, the trucking companies are charging more because gas prices are out through the roof. Yeah, they are, and they were before. And then maybe somebody should go talk to the oil companies who are trying to raise gas prices so that it's a measure of something to talk about in the midterm elections in 2024. I mean, it makes sense. Oil companies are in Republican pockets, et cetera, et cetera. I'm not going to get off on a political rant here, but it doesn't take a rocket scientist to figure out why the oil companies are raising prices. That being said, Hasbro made a boatload of money when a lot of other people didn't. And to sit there and then say we need to raise our rates more because of freight costs, I understand the need for profit margin, but I also understand, that it's ridiculous. It's going to ebb and flow. Freight costs will come back down. You'll make more money again. Are you telling me that when the freight costs come down, you're going to lower your price? Because I'm pretty sure that's not how that works.
all you need to do is look at the last time the gas prices were high and the fuel surcharges were added to invoices. The prices went down. Those surcharges didn't go away.
Right. So
I should know. I've done enough invoicing to know.
Exactly. So at the end of the day here, it's definitely, and I mean, what are we going to do? You and I, we're going to pay it. How do we not pay it? You're going to pay it.
Buy singles.
Yeah. Yeah, that's about the only way to do it. But I mean, the aftermarket, yeah, but you've got to buy you've got to buy the product or we won't have an aftermarket. So I don't know. Because, I mean, are we not going to, does this mean you and I aren't going to buy boxes anymore? I mean, they didn't say how much they're going to raise by.
Let's see.
Yeah. Well, I mean, if they raise it by 10%, say, okay, so that means that a booster box of draft should go to 110. Set boosters, $14 extra, probably.
Yeah, it's $154, $160.
Yeah.
Collector boosters would be closer to $275, $300.
Right, which is insane. If that's a 10, maybe it's a 5, but they are talking to there were a few upsides on that call. I liked how he was like, look, for the holiday season, we have to step up production. He's like, we have to have product on the shelves this holiday. Great. I mean, you're not making game nights anymore. So what are you making? Like, what are they going to make for the dirty, filthy, rotten casuals? I do wish they would do a little bit more of that. I loved the game nights thing. It was a great way to get people into Magic. Mm-hmm. If they made a game nights commander, I think that would be fantastic.
Well, I mean, they do so many pre-cons now.
Yeah, it is like having game nights.
Like this is commander is going to be your on ramp, and
yep.
it's going to be a steep on ramp because mechanics are some of them are older and they don't see a lot of print, so you'll be like, what the hell does this do? But I feel like that's what they're trying to pivot their introductory market to, is commander players.
Yeah, which is weird because commander should be
complicated.
Yeah, like you start getting into like real commander, not off of precons, and shit starts going sideways. Turn 1 Mana Crypt, Soul Ring, Arcane Signet, Gaia's Cradle, turn 2 Zakama. It's like things happen way too quick, and it does kind of bring up where we're going to go next, which is talking about Commander, because this week, so unless you got something else to say about Hasbro, we both think it just kind of sucks. So
it kind of sucks. I'm not surprised. We'll see how much the increase is to see how angry I actually am.
Right. And I mean, and really what this is going to do, it's going to hurt the LGSs again, because to stay competitive, an LGS may have to take more of, they don't take losses, but like, ask any LGS, okay? Unless they're larger, unless they're a larger LGS, their profit margins tend to be relatively razor thin to begin with. And, now add this in, to stay competitive, they may have to make it thinner, and that's not good, but what are you going to do? So let's talk a little bit now. We've got a few people in chat, so it's going to be you and I think, because I think there's only 2 or 3 guys. Let's talk about CommanderCraft. This week is your third week with Athreos. Mm-hmm. Is it Shroud Veiled or is it the other one?
It's the Shroud Veiled.
Okay. Yeah. So we were kind of talking about it. And we were like, Archenemy, which I think Steve kind of gave us the idea for. And then we both kind of went looking at Archenemy today, and it was like, okay, some of this works. Some of this is kind of like bass backwards. So
yeah, we had kind of done sort of an Archenemy when Zakama was going for its 3rd win, but it wasn't like true to that respect.
Right, like we were still swinging at each other.
Right.
And leaving you, alone, which is just insane. So, I mean, what are we thinking? Like, I saw what you posted me today, but let me see if I can pull up Archenemy rules here. Not that I can. I'm not going to put it on the screen, but I want to have it.
Yeah, I know you had initially suggested to me that whoever the archenemy is, they start with double their life total, which would be 80 life for commander.
Right.
I feel like, there were the suggestions that I gave to you. I feel like, if you're going to be 3 against 1, yeah, you should get some advantages.
Right.
But not too many, because that makes it just too easy.
Yeah.
You should basically, the archenemy should have to do some work to win.
Right.
So one of the things that I had suggested was you can still play cards like Revel in Riches, or that one Felidar that if you have a certain amount of life, you win the game.
Felidar Sovereign.
Felidar Sovereign. It's just that part of the card doesn't work.
For the archenemy or for us?
For archenemy, for anybody.
Yeah.
For anybody. None of that stuff works. Like you don't want one of the 3 players to randomly say, "Oh, Thassa's Oracle combo, I win."
True.
That's just.
Well, it's not about them winning. It's about you losing. We have to make it so that you lose, as I understand. I can get behind that. Right.
So, 80 life is still going to be a lot. That's going to be hard to do, even with 3 players pounding on you. Because if there's any kind of life gain.
True.
But the archenemy definitely needs to have an advantage. It has to be harder for the other 3 players to win because it is 3 against 1.
Right.
We won't be able to do the scheme cards.
We could. It's just a technological problem in that. We could do it. There's a site out there that does it.
Yeah, but I feel like sometimes our setup is already duct tape and bubble gum to begin with.
Right. Oh, I'd have to get real creative, and for you guys to see it, I would have to read it. It would be on the broadcast, but you guys wouldn't see it unless we did it through Discord. And then, even then, it's kind of like, then I got to try to get either I get Discord. Here's the thing. I've been listening to a lot of D&D podcasts and stuff too. Like, we could read it. I could put them in Discord. I could put the thing in Discord so we all can see it. And, when you draw it, or you would actually do it, I'd have you share your screen. And so when you drew your card, it would show up in Discord. We'd all be able to see it. But yeah, I get the point too. So
yeah, a lot of technical hurdles that I think would need to be overcome before we even really considered using something like the scheme cards.
Right. It's why we don't do Planes Chase.
Yeah, and I had suggested something sort of like a Monarch token, where the archenemy gets the option to draw a card at the end of their turn. It's not mandatory, so it's a trigger that can be missed, which gives the other team something of an advantage.
Or what if we did it at the beginning? Like, what if instead of that, we just had you roll a d6, and we have 6 things that give you kind of a, schemes that, like, you draw a second card, you do it at the start of upkeep, draw a card at upkeep. Scry and draw. You gain 2 life,
Yeah,
I don't know.
We'd have to find if it was something like that, we'd have to find effects that are, decent but not overpowered.
Right.
And that's hard to do when you're just kind of
tap each land for 2 mana. Oh dear God.
There's a scheme that does that doubles your mana. So,
which in your deck, holy shit.
Well, really, in any commander deck, you're doubling mana. You're asking for trouble.
Yeah.
One of the other suggestions that I had was that the archenemy is immune to commander damage.
Right.
Well,
I don't think you can do that,
combat
though.
damage, but they can't die to taking 21 commander damage.
I think what it is, they shouldn't die to 21. They should die to half and +1 of their whatever their starting life is from that particular player. Since all three of us have to attack you. So if your life total is 60, all right, let's say we put you at 60. All right, we have to do, each of us, any one of us would have to do 31 commander damage to you to get you, to kill you, which then could make you focus on one of us. It's good to have it, because then it also could allow one of us, you know what I mean? Like, instead of you going, I'm going to swing you, and do all this shit to you guys. Like, if I am just pounding and pounding and pounding and pounding on you, going aggro, you may want to target me, as opposed to maybe somebody who's playing more of a landfall deck like Nick. Say Nick was playing. I like the idea of commander damage, but it shouldn't be. What it is if you were playing 80, it would be 41. Like, I would have to do 41 damage to you, which is really tough. You know, it's not like it's easy, but when we're playing Commander at 40, it's hard for any... I mean, how many times have we had Commander damage and it's been a year and a half? How many people have died to Commander damage?
Probably like... There's been a handful, but not a lot.
Yeah. So I think if we do... My thinking would be with that was half of your life... The Archenemy is half of their life total. +1. So... And again, if I, as one... And it's one player. It's not all three of us. So I have to do... Say it's you... we know that Vic's playing with us. So it's me, Vic, and say Nick was playing. I would have to do 31 for you to go out, or Vic would have to do 31. If we both have done 40 together, doesn't matter. You know, it's just 40 damage to you. You know, I can get behind. But, and I think it's important to kind of have it, otherwise it's not Commander. Then we are just playing Archenemy, and, you know, why are we using 100-card decks? You know, I don't know. What's your thought? And again, anyone out there listening to this right now, feel free to hop into the chat and let us know that we're insane.
I think part of the difference and part of the problem is that with Archenemy is that the decks were sort of built. They were pre-constructed decks for the most part, and they were kind of built to work together against the Archenemy, and they were, you know, they were a certain sort of a way.
Right.
Commander's a different beast where the decks are going to be inherently a lot more powerful.
Right.
So it's going to be having to find a way to balance it to where the Archenemy has an advantage, but it's not so insurmountable that it's basically a guaranteed win. Right.
Which is why I think actually the Commander damage is a way to... is kind of like the safety valve on that. Again, say we weren't playing Archenemy, say we weren't playing your Athreos deck, you know, say we were playing something else that you get tons of life off. Don't you have like a life gain deck and shit and go sideways?
No, Zakama can gain a ton of life.
Yeah. Like, so say you have Zakama. Well, you know, and we're playing Archenemy, that might be the only option for some of us to be able to stop you. You know, is that you're going off and going off and going off. And, you know, and again, it's Commander damage. So it's not like I can Electro Dominance you for 31. Me, Will. It has to be, say I was playing Calamax. Calamax has to do it. So not only are you not going to focus on the player, you're going to focus on our commanders. So I feel like it's a part of Commander. Like we're trying to build this like bastardized, you know, half and half of Archenemy and Commander. And I mean, we can totally do what you want. If you don't think it should be there, then hey, you know, I'm cool.
I don't know. Yeah, I was throwing ideas out there. Archenemy is 8 or 9 years old. It was a supplemental game.
It's like a board game.
Chasing Conspiracy. Yeah, where it was 4 players, 3 against 1. And the one player was the Archenemy. Like in the second version of the game, it was Nicol Bolas. So you were playing a very specialized deck against their 3 deck. And there were special cards that you could draw, I think at the beginning of the turn, called schemes.
Right.
Some of them acted like sorceries. They just did a thing and went away. Other ones were like enchantments, and they had a permanent effect for a while. And the Archenemy started with double life. And yeah, you're basically, it's 3 against 1. The Archenemy has to kill all 3 of you to win, whereas you just have to kill the Archenemy to win if you're the team of 3. So
right.
We're trying to do a variation of that for the weeks where there is a Commander deck that's won 2 games and it's going into its 3rd game for retirement if it wins. And
right.
Basically trying to make it a little harder for that deck to get retired.
Right. Which again, yeah, and it's like there's a part of me too that feels like if we beat the Archenemy, then there's no champion. Like I know you said like, and then things would go on from that. My personal feeling is if, again, say it's me, Nick, and Vic, we beat you, we're good. No champion. Everybody starts with a new deck. Yeah, because...
That seems fair.
Yeah. Like, because then you have to kind of turn your deck. Like, one of the cards I think we should add, if we were to add a 1 in 6, or you roll a 20-sided dice as opposed to a scheme card. We could easily do that. And... you know, we write down 20 different things. Like maybe one of the 20 is maybe 20, which is, you know, you have a 1 in 20 shot. Maybe 20 is you get to remove 1 card from play for, you know, and suspend it for 10 turns. No matter what card it is, even in Commander or whatever, you name the card, no matter where it is. If anybody's got it in their deck, you know, it's removed for 10 turns. So if there was somebody who you knew had, like, say you were playing me and you know I occasionally will throw a Sorcerer's Spyglass in, which shuts your deck off, I'm going to suspend your Sorcerer's Spyglass for 10 turns. And then it gets shuffled into my library. It doesn't go back into my hand or anything. You know, like, there are crazy things we can think of like that. But
maybe, but
yeah, not before Wednesday.
With Archenemy was that some of those effects actually hurt the Archenemy too.
Yeah.
And I don't know, like, I think the randomness of that, I think giving too many bonuses or any penalties really at all, with the nature of how commander decks can work.
Right.
I feel like it should be small.
Right.
Because just increasing the life total in and of itself or increasing the card draw is probably going to be enough of an advantage to make it really hard for the 3 to beat the 1.
Right. I'm fine with no scheme cards. I'm fine with just doubling your life total, or not doubling, put it 60. So you have 60 life. We all have 40 or 30. I can even get behind that.
No, they should start at 40 life.
Okay.
They should start their normal life total. I think if it's like that, I mean, 80 life is a lot, but then again, 60 life is a lot. So is 20 more in that respect really that much more of a difference?
Well, what it is this. 60 life is double, it's 20 more than each of us. But you have to do 120 damage to us. And we have to do half that to you. That kind of seems right, like from a math perspective. If you're at 60, we're at 1. Because in essence, that's what it is. You're at 60, but we're at 120. And it's a 3-headed Hydra. Okay, so... But it's still, you have to do 120 damage to win. Or somehow get us out of the game. I don't know how, lose the game cards would work. I mean...
Yeah, because my Atheros deck has Revel in Riches, so it's a win the game card.
Right.
I don't actually think that's necessarily fair for the Archenemy to be able to have an insta-win, or I don't think it's necessarily fair for any of the 3 team players to have an insta-win. I feel like damage should be the way, damage or mill or something like that should be the way you die.
Right. Well, to be fair,
it shouldn't be an oops I win. It should be like somebody playing Coalition Victory and saying, "Oh, game's over, I win."
To be fair though, on the other side of that, you've played Athreos twice. We all know that is in there. So, we could also say too, and another reason why, if we win, there's no champion deck is, we could encourage guys to be like, you know what, we're playing Archenemy. Build a deck that is going to stop. You've seen Aramis's deck twice now. You know that he has Revel and Riches in it. Counter program it.
Yeah, I don't like that either, though.
I know you don't.
I don't like that either. I feel like it should be, the deck should play their game plan, and
but then now you have a dead card in your deck that you've used for 2 weeks.
I don't feel like you should be tuning a deck specifically to play another deck, because then if we go to a second game, if that's the only commander deck you've brought, now you have to change the deck before we play the second game. And unless you already have a pre-selected suite of cards that are for it, just seems like more hassle than it's worth.
Well,
I mean, I think people just bring the normal decks you would bring. Commander's hard enough as it is. Even I think a 3 against 1. I think
I like counter programming your deck, so I do that shit all the time.
Yeah. I don't think it's good sportsmanship, honestly.
Oh, I don't know. I guess I look at it as like sideboarding, because we don't sideboard, so it's kind of like I'm bringing in the deck I think that can beat you. I don't.
Yeah, bringing the deck that can beat you, one thing. Putting specific cards in your deck to shut down a specific strategy that another deck has, that seems a little cheap to me. I mean, that would be I don't know, me always putting Confounding Conundrum in all of my decks because I know you're playing Landfall.
Right.
If the Confounding Conundrum is part of my strategy normally, then sure, fine. I mean, but if like you putting in the Cursed Totem because you know I'm playing Sakama.
Right. I like Cursed Totem though, period. And Sorcerer's Spyglass, both of them. But yeah, I get your point. And that's a thing neither here nor there. I wonder about the instant win con, or
I don't think the instant win card. I feel like it's just, if we're gonna play a game like that, having a win button.
Yeah.
Kind of.
And Vic, you're playing Wednesday, so what do you think? Tell us in the chat, because
I feel
you've
like,
got skin in this game, sir.
if the archenemy wins, it should be by beating you. If the team wins, it should be by beating the archenemy.
Yeah, but that is beating. That's part of winning. That's
But I mean winning by doing something like damage or combat damage or milling, but not just doing a demonic consultation into fastest oracle combo, because that just ends the game.
Right.
Or
mazes end on a gate deck.
Yeah, from a content perspective.
You son of a bitch. You got me with my fucking
I said the C word.
God damn it.
It's better content when someone's killed through damage.
True. But it's also, some people like to see that, like, and again, it's just the archenemy portion, but I'm like, archenemy sounds so complex, but I agree, instant wins don't seem fun for that. Well, Vic that's 2 out of 3, so I'll take the hit on that. But
that hurts my deck, because I have an instant win card in there.
Well, that was just it. I was like, is there any way we can, like, start a timer and say you got 3 turns of 10 if you can keep 3, if you can untap 3 times with 10 treasures, then you kind of deserve to win. If we can't fucking get rid of 10, make you spend 10 treasures, like, if we can't put enough pressure on you, like, you kind of earned the win. And then do we make it the other way? Like, what happens to, okay, say I play the totem, the book there, not Cursed Totem, but
the Book of Exalted Deeds.
Yeah. All right, say I play Book of Exalted Deeds, and yeah, there's 1,000 ways to kill lands in Commander, but say you don't have Field of Ruin. You've already spent your Field of Ruin.
But that's the thing. It's one of those cards that says, I mean, that one doesn't say you win the game, but it says you can't win, and I can't win, you can't lose.
Oh, okay.
And it's essentially, if I have no way to do that, it's essentially you winning the game, because now we're just waiting for me to deck.
Right. But that's just it. We're kind of opening up a Pandora's box, because some people might sit there and say, well, it doesn't say I can't win. It says yeah.
It introduces a game state where, barring interaction of a very specific kind, like, yeah, you could destroy the Revel in Riches, and you probably should be playing some kind of enchantment removal.
Oh, hell yeah, I am in every one of my decks.
But the problem is that there's always the possibility that it just happens right away. What if the deck I was playing was Esper? I play Revel in Riches, followed by a Wrath, followed by an extra turn.
Yeah, well, Vic, actually, I don't think Vic understands what we're talking about here. Vic, you're playing Archenemy Wednesday. Bring that deck. Aramis has won twice with Athreos. It's his 3rd time. We made a rule about 3 or 4 weeks ago after Zakama. We were like, man, we should just make it so that the 3rd one's like Archenemy, where we're all ganging up on you. So now we're just kind of like noodling out the
sort of leaning into that a little more.
All right, I can agree with all your stuff. I can. All right, so I say 60. Give you 60 life, because you have to do double your life total damage to win. I think that seems kind of fair.
That's fine with me.
I say commander damage is 31 from each player. It's not 21. It's 31. They have to do half plus 1. That would be my suggestion. So if one commander can do 31 damage to you, combat damage now, again, it's not like, Atraxa.
Regular commander damage, yeah.
Right. I say 31 damage, then you're out. You lost.
Okay.
I agree with the no instant win cons. No, and I guess no.
Like the cards can be played. It's just that particular part of it doesn't work.
Right. And no, I mean, lose cons. It
don't
depends.
Want just to play a 5-color deck with door to nothing.
Right.
Because then it's just, you lose.
Right. So, okay, so no lose cons either.
Yeah, again,
can't lose cons, I should say.
Yeah, cards that say you win the game, cards that say player loses the game, or cards that say I can't win, you can't lose. You can play them, it's just those parts of their effects don't work.
Right.
So if they do other things, fine.
Right. Okay. I can get behind that too. So that's
what about drawing extra cards?
I don't know that we want to do it at end step, because you have Monarch cards. So then you can end up drawing 2 on an end step. And really Monarch, we have to kind of figure out too, like, well, I know we're all individual players, but we're playing at the same time. So
playing as a team, because there was a rule in the newer version of Archenemy where if I attacked any one player, all of the players could block.
right, which we're going to use, I'm assuming.
I actually wasn't thinking that was a good idea.
Well, no, because you're attacking the 3-headed monster. We just can't share cards with each other. But if one of us keeps if I've got an Elder Gargaroth up for 20, then I can. It's an effective blocker, but you can swing in with
Like if I attacked Vic,
right.
you wouldn't. I don't think I never liked the idea of you being able to block me attacking him.
Yeah, but isn't that how 2-headed giant works?
I think so, but
Yeah,
it's
like
not two-headed giant.
yeah, but it's kind of 2-headed giant. We're a 3-headed. Vic, what do you think? Because Vic's in the chat.
I mean, you're basically saving all your combat tricks for everything that I do anyway.
Right, exactly, and
there's 3 of you.
Right. So we would be discussing things like, okay,
yeah, you could just
I could swing in for 30.
Like...
Well, no, because it makes sense too. Because I could be like, well, look, I could swing in for 30, but then I'm wide open. But you've got 5 little dirtle cards. You're going to swing in for 5, and it makes sense that we can block for each other. I like the being able to block for, and if I was Archenemy, I still would.
I think it's hard enough for the Archenemy to attack because if he attacks, he's open 3 times.
Well, yeah. Well, you're open.
There's a triple crackback if I attack with everything.
Well, there's a triple crackback if you think about it anyway in Commander. If we're all just ganging up on you anyway, it's
right. But I mean, but the thing about Commander is that you have the option not to join in on the fun.
Right.
In that regard, whereas in Archenemy, you are compelled to attack the one person.
Well, okay. What about this? All right. When you attack, all right, if we're going to block as a team, you're attacking the team. So you're not attacking Will or Vic or Nick, say if Nick was playing, but you're attacking Will, Vic, and Nick. And if we don't block it, if we don't figure out a blocking strategy, any damage that comes through hits all of us.
Yeah, but then that opens the door for certain effects where it's like, oh, you pay X life to get an effect. Oh, I'm just going to pay 38 life, even though one of you is at 12.
That's true. You're right. All right. I guess I'm okay with, whoever you attack has to block.
Because again, I have to deal double the damage.
True. Well, double the damage to, yeah. Well, no, you have to deal, well, yeah, double the damage to everybody, but you're actually...
Overall, yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, for certain decks, that might not be an issue. For certain decks, it is.
Right.
I don't know. It's just, I feel like...
Well, because, I'm going to put it on Front Street right now. You know what I'm playing.
I don't remember what
I'm going to play Atraxa. I mean, in this, against your Athreos deck, I think it's the only deck I got a shot. If you think about it. But I'm probably going to play around with it because I don't think I got to decide. I don't know, because I got to decide. Like, I'm trying to do, this hybrid Super Friend counter deck. I think you got to kind of go Super Friends or counters on that because I'm not doing well with it. But, yeah, I think I'm going to play Atraxa against you this week because, Calamax and all that, and especially if we're playing 3-headed giant, doesn't seem fair. Because really, I only have to save my counter spells and my turn, and how do turns work? God, if I use a time, if I use
you would
Nexus,
get you would get the extra turns.
Well, yeah, but we take our turns.
Yeah, but you can't. You're not going to give your turn to somebody else.
Exactly. So it adds too many questions. So I don't think I'm going to play Callie. I'm probably going to play Atraxa. That being said, yeah, it's. I guess I can get behind that we can block you're blocking the attack that hits you. And plus it would make commander damage insane otherwise. You could stop getting 21. You could get, and by the way, commander damage for us is still 21. So
I know that's not true.
No. So all right. So that's it. I'll write it up tomorrow. I'll put a document together and put it in a CommanderCraft channel like we do for the rules. But I think that's cool. So, bird's eye again. You have 60 life. We have 40. You have to do 21 commander damage. We have to do 31. It's 3 against 1. We attack. Our turns happen at the same time, but they're not the same person. Like, we're not sharing cards, we're not sharing mana.
Well,
Our mana
it's still in a turn order. It's just, you guys all go in a row. So the Archenemy, I think in Archenemy 2, the Archenemy goes first.
Right. But that's fine, and I'm down with that too. It's more you go first, and then but the turn order still goes in steps. Like, okay, untap, 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 upkeep, draw, and then main one, we attack at the same time and all that, because otherwise, because we need to be able to talk to each other as well. So, we need to be
they would attack simultaneously?
Yes, that's what it said on the wiki. So, but that just means it's 2 turns. No, it's the same thing. How is it different?
Well,
yeah, it affects blocking, but as far as I know, they attack at the same time, at least in Archenemy. So, let me see here. Blah, blah, blah. Archenemy format, MTG wiki, development, blah, blah, blah. Rules. Archenemy shuffles their scheme deck. Target life total is 40, 20. Archenemy owner of scheme card. Makes up scheme card. Immediately after the Archenemy's pre-combat main phase begins, during each of their turns, that player moves the top card of their scheme deck. Well, okay, well, that's stupid. What's an ongoing scheme?
Yeah, they share their turn steps.
Yeah.
They don't share cards, life totals, mana pools, or any other resource.
Right. So all of our stuff is done together. It's just, and we'll go in order.
Together, but separately.
Right. We'll go in turn order just to keep things even. So I'll make sure that you're at the top left of the broadcast and, in spell table, because I think they changed that. I think I can do that now. And then, we'll still rotate for 2, 3, and 4. So, but yeah, so it's main, combat together, main. So, and I think, again, that's not a bad thing, because, yeah.
It'll be interesting to see how it plays out. I mean,
yeah.
I'm actually kind of hoping that it doesn't come up too often, because I just I enjoy regular Commander for what it is.
So do I. Well, dude, we don't have to. This is our thing. I mean, we just wasted 35 minutes talking about it, but hey, we could jettison this shit.
Well, I just don't want it to be too different than that.
Yeah.
I feel like if it's the last game before a deck gets retired, then yeah, sure, it should be harder for that deck to win. I get that, and I think that should be the case. I'm saying that we shouldn't make it to where it's more cumbersome than it's worth.
Right, I agree wholeheartedly, and bad content. So I think you're right. I think right now we'll see how this goes. Tomorrow will be our first chance, and then we'll have our
test it out,
powwow, and see how it goes. So that's it. We're kind of over, but that's okay. I still want to talk about, first of all, again, special thanks to Jake. Jake put together a State of Legacy countdown. Well, a State of Legacy segment that I turned into a countdown. You should listen to it if you get the chance. I did listen to it a lot because, believe it or not, putting together the PowerPoint for that was rather cumbersome. For a 4-minute countdown, it took me about 7 hours. And, but again, Jake, thank you. I'm totally pushing the video production back on you. But a really decent segment. I kind of learned a little bit about, the deck and, and how that one card, which we talked about on Friday, the Lich there, and why you're like, why is he $7? I'm like, because you see him playing Legacy, because he makes this deck pop. So, finally, let's get to the Win-A-Box. The Win-A-Box, okay, so we were hoping to go this Wednesday. Everything was supposed to be wrapped up today. We were going to go through the deck lists and stuff. But here's the thing. I didn't get deck lists. A lot of people didn't get their deck lists into me yet. I'm going to start chasing them down this week. If you're listening to this and you're in the Win-A-Box promo, I need a deck list from you as soon as you can. Other than that, the other reason is we're at 22 out of 64. I'd like to see us get to at least 32, so I'm going to give us a little bit more time. If you want to play in this event, and it's best of 3, standard, up to Adventures in the Forgotten Realm, so no AFR cards, and no ban list. So plan accordingly. If you've got the wild cards or you've got Okos and Omnas, you can play them one last time. If not, counter program that shit. But you register at discord.planestalkerspodcast.com. So, have you looked at the deck lists at all, Aramis?
Not yet. I wanted to see what the final listing was.
Some of them are pretty. I'm loving some of them. Some of them are. I mean, I'm just going to say it now. Like Bama. Yeah, Bama went a completely different way I thought he was going to go. Kyle's still learning. He's listening. Shout out to Kyle. But he's got it. I had to be like, dude, you need 15 cards sideboard. A few other cards there. I had to have a conversation with a few people. A few people tried to throw AFR or what was it? One guy was tried to put a Lair of the Hydra in, and then they also threw in Spell Pierce, Veil of Summer, and Fry. I'm like, no, can't have those. So, but it's looking pretty exciting. There's a lot of decent stuff in there. I'm very excited to see what's going to come of this. I love doing this. So that's going to be our show next week, almost wall to wall, unless some big news comes up and we have to make like a second special episode where we do the deck lists. Plan on Monday to be just deck lists because usually this takes us a while to do. So, but unless there's anything else, I guess we should back this out.
Sounds good to me.
All right. Well, let's go to
End step.
All right, so while Aramis and I are putting our cards away, rolling up our play mats, and taking our pizza boxes over to the trash because, damn it, your mother still does not work at this Chess King, we want to remind you guys that we have a great Twitch channel where we stream all sorts of content. All of our shows are streamed there, as well as anything I tend to do online. I might stream Minecraft. I might stream DCU Online. I might stream, whatever. Just look us up on Twitch. PlanesTalkers Podcast is our Twitch channel, all one word. And you can also follow me on Twitch at Mindcrime73.
And if you want to sign up for the Win-A-Box tournament, if you want to join a nice community where lots of folks like to talk about stuff, about the podcast, Magic in general, and anything else that comes to mind, discord.planestalkerspodcast.com is where you need to go. That is our Discord server. A great community. Again, if you want to play in the Win-A-Box, that's where you want to sign up. Discord.planestalkerspodcast.com. If you want to follow us on Twitter, we'll tweet out occasionally when we're going live. Maybe if something else, is particularly interesting to us, we'll fire off a tweet. You can find us there at PlanesTalkerPod.
And my personal Twitter is at WBar. I have Jabba disease. Okay. And my personal Twitter is at WR Benson. And of course, you can always follow us on Facebook. Just go to facebook.com/PlanesTalker. We kept that last S off, mainly for savings, but also because some jerk who flies planes decided to take it from us. Don't forget, too, we also do a great playcast on Wednesdays called CommanderCraft. It's pretty much what we talked about the entire main two. This week is our Archenemy section. So we've got Vic in for sure. So it's Aramis, me, and Vic. And if you want to play and you're a patron, let me know right away. And if you're watching the show on Monday night. And if not, if it's Tuesday morning and you're just listening to this podcast because I just uploaded it, let me know right away. And we need one more at least, but it'll be there Wednesday night, 7 Eastern. It's called CommanderCraft, and this one, are we calling it Archenemy? Are we calling it, CommanderCraft PlanesTalker? PlanesStalker. No,
No, I think no.
no,
It's gotta
not
be something else.
PlanesStalker.
No, I mean, obviously, I was partial to Boss Fight, but
Boss fight.
play some dramatic music in the background.
Yes. Oh, we got to come up
Something
with
that,
You know what? We could throw this out there. Somebody come up with what we should call this. I don't think we should call it Archenemy because it's kind of like our own bastardized version of Archenemy.
Mm-hmm.
It's a Sparchenemy. No, Spark Enemy. No, Chart Enemy. I don't know. I can't think. It's Beer Enemy. So,
Beer Enema, what?
Beer Enema. No. Instead of arch enemy, it's arch friendly. We hug you. We all have to play hug decks. All right. And final, I almost did your bit. And finally, you can send us email. But turn into CommanderCraft 7 p.m. Eastern Wednesday night on any of our channels.
And like what he was about to say, he's been, giving my part of the outro.
Dude, I haven't done that in ever.
You can email us. Send us an email about the show. If you have a suggestion about the show, be a great way to suggest a name for our Wednesday night when we don't know what to call it yet. Or, just want to check in, say hi, let us know where we're screwing up. I'm sure we do that all the time too. There's 3 email addresses you can send to us. We will read them all. If you're lucky, we may even read them on the air. We read most of the ones we get on the air, actually.
We even read the bad ones on the air.
Even the bad ones. So our main address, which is seen by both of us, is podcast@planestalkerspodcast.com. If you want to email one of us individually, you can email Will. His address is will@planestalkerspodcast.com. If you'd like to email me, my address is aramis@planestalkerspodcast.com.
I thought of one, but it's completely inappropriate, so I won't say it. Because it's what you would play back. I mean, when I used to play playground football, every once in a while, it would be like catch the guy with the ball and, tackle him. And we call it.
I know where you're going with
this. Yeah. Can't call it that, though, can we? Smear the. Nope. Boy, we were assholes in the 80s, weren't we?
No, y'all were. I was just sitting back playing video games. I don't know what you guys were doing.
Yeah, I actually did. I played playground football for like years. I loved it. Yeah, dogpile on Aramis? No. Oh, we could just call it that. Like
dogpile?
CommanderCraft dogpile on blank. It's something to think about.
Something to think about. There's got to be another word for the big bad.
Yeah, like dogpile. Arch.
I want it to sound good without sounding cheesy.
Right. Like again, PlanesTalker. No. Wait, I still can't do it. PlanesTalker. Like, how do you do a plane? Because I want plain stalker. When does a combo come back? Shut up, Vic. He doesn't come back.
He could be back on Wednesday if we get to 3 games. Just saying.
Damn it.
It could be as early as Wednesday. Depends on how quickly the first game goes and if we get through a second game. Because I have a brand new deck for game 2 that I am really itching to play. I'm super looking forward to it.
Magic, CommanderCraft, Sack Attack. No shit.
Maybe when you've sobered up.
I am sober. This is 1 beer. 1 beer, sir.
Yeah, I'm basically calling you a lightweight.
Yeah, well, it's a 9.5%er. It's a triple, but leave that alone. All right. And so, yes, our emails are done, I guess. So on that note, we want to thank you guys for hanging out with us tonight, listening to the show. We will be back Wednesday night with our all-new sack attack on Aramis. No, I'm not going to make that a thing. But we'll be back Wednesday night for CommanderCraft. We are doing an Archenemy style for him for Game 1. You're not going to want to miss it. We'll be back on Monday with our regular show, talking about the Win-A-Box promo. If you want in on that, discord.planestalkerspodcast.com. But for Aramis Perez, this is Will Benson saying thank you for listening. And remember to keep some of your mana on tap because you never know when you'll need it. Take care and have a good one. Bye-bye. I did not know. I thought I wasn't going to hit it, and then I made it. That's because I'm a professional broadcaster, sir. I did this for years. Sack attack. Something like that. Like, sack the quarterback.
I'm going to go onto a thesaurus.
Do not look up smear the what, because what would you call it now, though? I wonder what the kids call it now. I can't believe they would stop playing that.
Let's see. Synonyms for archenemy. Ooh, nemesis.
Oh. CommanderCraft Nemesis?
CommanderCraft Nemesis.
The problem is Star Trek Nemesis, and that brings up bad
Adversary?
Memories. Huh? Nah.
Adversary?
Let's see. Sorry, Mr. Stream was Pit with a friend. Can't wait to miss it. Can't wait to listen to it. Was Pit? What's Pit? Jake, you're from America. I would expect that from, Jamie Pitt. Then it turns out it's some British word for pub. Sack attack. Out with a friend. Is this a girlfriend? Because then, all is forgiven if it's a lady. Unless you're into men, then, all's forgiven if it's a dude. But, what do we want to make this? I do like Nemesis. There's a part of me that just thinks Nemesis has a really good kind of CommanderCraft Nemesis.
Let's see.
CommanderCraft Arch Nemesis. Like we're hitting it home.
Yeah.
Oh, well, my wife and I were out friends. Okay, well, yes, if it's your wife and you, then you are forgiven. I forgot you were married, brother. You get to play Magic. We don't assume that you're married.
don't forget, too, there was a set called Nemesis.
Oh, was there? Then we can't do it.
Well, they kind of took a lot of those words already.
Yeah. Let's see. What about...
because if it was CommanderCraft Nemesis, if we just called it Nemesis, we'd run into problems. But if it was CommanderCraft Nemesis, that might be different. It's different enough.
What about CommanderCraft Nemesis? No, like there are many of us. I guess Nemesis works kind of. We can kind of think on it for a couple of days. Yeah, Commander. Well, I want to design, for the stream, but CommanderCraft Nemesis, Archenemy, Archfiend. CommanderCraft Supervillain? No. This is...
I'm looking at the...
Syndicate, Crime Lord, Boss. There is a part of me that likes Boss Fight because of what it is, but then it's like... It seems kind of pedestrian.
Mm-hmm.
Like Nemesis has this kind of like SAT word quality to it.
Yeah, it's very big brain.
Yeah.
Yeah, or like even if it's CommanderCraft, like End Boss, But it's hard to find big words that sound cool,
right?
Because I'm looking at it now, synonyms for adversary, and I'm pretty sure CommanderCraft Backbiter isn't going to do it.
I'm such a child. Antagonist.
Hacker, bandit, competitor, criminal, detractor, foe.
Well, what we're trying to do is stop you from retribution. Like we're trying to stop you. We're paying you back for winning too. I don't know.
CommanderCraft Run It Back.
How about CommanderCraft doing it live?
Do it live. I'll write it and we'll do it live.
That's been echoing all stream, by the way.
Oh, what? All those have?
Mm-hmm.
Oh, that's not good.
Do it live.
Well, they'll be right on the. It'll be right on the audio recording because I record that channel. But that's good to know in case we fuck the audio up. CommanderCraft. Doomstopper, CommanderCraft Armageddon, CommanderCraft Apocalypse.
Nope, that was a set too.
Yeah, I know. Yeah, I think Nemesis kind of has my vote because it does kind of hit home with what it is, but it's not Archenemy because it's our own thing.
Yeah. We'll go with that for now.
Yeah.
And if something better comes along, we can change it.
Yeah. So, all right. So CommanderCraft Nemesis on Wednesday. So, and my stuff is up there, and yours is as well. Yes.
You gotta come up with new music for it though.
Yeah, that's the trick.
Something dark and foreboding.
Dude, this is dark. It's in a minor key.
Like honestly, like I like Climb.
Climb?
Yeah.
I don't think I know Climb.
That's a cool. I like that song that we had for our intro.
Oh, well, and that's going to be there. Like what Jake did, Jake's not going to do these every week, so it's kind of like I'm going to put it at the start of this episode. Like it'll be in our. Actually, what I'll do is I'll put it at the end.
You got to find something that sort of sounds like boss music.
Yeah. Well, no, he's got music with it. Like that's just it. If you listen to it,
no, I mean for the beginning part of CommanderCraft, we're doing CommanderCraft Nemesis or whatever we're calling it. When that comes up, we got to have like a special intro song for it.
Right. Well, we don't have an intro though. We tend to just like welcome, unless we're going to do it on the countdown, which we can.
Well, it's kind of a special thing, right? Because it may only happen a few times.
Right. Well, it's happened twice in the last season. It happened twice. So yeah,
right.
I anticipate, but so we might get to Nemesis a few times, but we won't,
But I think it's something that feels special enough,
right?
Where it kind of needs its own thing.
I agree wholeheartedly.
If it happens during an episode, that's one thing.
Right. Yeah, I could look at that. I'll play around with that tomorrow. Yeah, I should be able to do that. Because, I'm going to also work on a few things with that. So, tomorrow I've been talking to Isabel about redoing our logo. Because we've had our logo. I bought our logo when I did the Will podcast.
Back the curtain, guys.
What's that?
Peeling the curtain way back for these guys. Because they don't. A lot of them don't know about that.
What, the Week in Geek with Will?
Yeah.
Yeah, like my old podcast. Yeah.
Yeah, because we're still on.
Yeah. Well, I think something just happened. I got switched around and camera switched, and this is weird.
I heard a lot of noises. That's all I know. I heard beep 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 beep. I stuff got unplugged.
Yeah, I think I'm overpowering my USB hub because I got my hub upstairs. That's why. And I've got 2 cameras and 2 lights, and yeah. So I think I did that. Hold on here. Let's turn that off. Turn that back on. Oh, it did it over there. Okay, that's why I'm like, why did that switch? Cameras. That doesn't make any sense. Oh, there we go. XSplit, and then I have to switch my camera and XSplit. I get it now. But anyway, yeah, it's up there, and yeah, I'll have the episode edited tomorrow, and I'll put together I'll put together a countdown stuff. But like I was saying, I want Isabel to kind of get us a new logo, and I like our logo. I paid for it. It's art I paid for back in the day, and I found a head that looks like you, and I was already using the one for me, so I was like, okay, this works, but now I kind of want to get something a little more, appropriate. So,
right.
But and again, the token thing, that's huge. I want to get tokens done. So, all right, well, let's get out of here because it's already late. It's 10:15. I'm an old man. You talked about on the ride home about starting a podcast. Yes, about trying to get Isabel to change things. Yeah, because I had Jake listen to that. Yeah. All right, yeah. You know what? We're post-show, so I can say this. Part of what we're doing here with the Legacy, State of Legacy, is that Jake does want to, he's got a buddy, so they're going to put a few of these together, these type of episodes, in the thoughts of possibly coming under the PlanesTalker banner and putting together their own Legacy show. So
trying that again?
Huh?
We're trying that again?
Yeah, but it's going to be their show. It's not going to be taking CommanderCraft or anything. It's like they're going to, yeah, they're doing it themselves. They're going to name it themselves. I'm like, listen, we'll promote you whether or not you're under our banner. And he's like, no, I want to be under your banner. I was like, okay. So, we've got some things. We'll talk offline. I probably should talk to you off air about that first. But, that's kind of one of the reasons they're doing it. I told them, well, go listen to that Ride Home with Will, where I talk pretty eloquently about starting a podcast and, my suggestions. And there are other suggestions out there, Jake. You should listen to a bunch of them because I'm no guru by any stretch. But, yeah, other than that, I think I'm going to go upstairs and crawl into bed and read a little bit. I'm reading Invincible again because did you watch that by any chance? Do you have Amazon Prime?
I have Amazon Prime. I haven't watched it.
Don't watch it with Ollie. It is not an Ollie show.
Oh, I know. I know.
But it's awesome, dude.
I know. I want to watch it. It's pinning down the time to do it.
Yes. It's quick watches. There's, I think, what is it, 8 episodes, but they're 45 minutes long. And it's good. And it made me want to read the comic. So I've got the whole series now in compendiums. I already read them when I was on vacation. I'm going to reread them, and then I'll do a ride home with Will on it. We are Cantrip Cartel. Ooh. Send me your episode. I like that. Their legacy podcast, Cantrip Cartel. So that's interesting. Yeah, send me that. I'll listen to it. Otherwise, I think we're good, right, brother? So we can stop the stream?
Sure.
All right, guys. We'll see you guys on Wednesday. We need one more. One more. Jake, you'd be a good one for this. It's Archenemy. Well, it's Nemesis. It's Archenemy, though. We could use one more patron or non-patron, but definitely